Hey everyone, good afternoon. This is EPrice. A lot has been talked about with zombies in the last couple of years, and I just wanted to give you a quick talk today about tips on how to survive in a zombie apocalypse. Quick outline, we'll be talking about zombies themselves, go over kind of the etiology, the classification, and then get more into the survival tips, looking at shelter options, food, and personal protection. So first things first, what is a zombie? Merriam-Webster has two definitions. The first definition is a person who moves very slowly and is not aware of what's happening, especially because of being very tired. Now I know we've all been in this predicament. Probably we all have a similar picture from med school, but I think the second definition is more applicable to our talk today. The second definition is a dead person who is able to move because of magic, according to some religions and in stories, movies, etc. This is our classic definition of a zombie. So, what is the etiology of a zombie? It's really unknown. There's been a lot of theories posited. The main ones are really focused around the rabies virus, which is transmitted from an infected animal, and when that person is bitten by the infected animal, the person will develop encephalopathy and abnormal behaviors. And the theory says that those abnormal behaviors can lead them to act like a zombie. And more recently, with the Ebola outbreak of 2014, Ebola has been linked to a possible cause of zombies. Due to how poorly we understand Ebola overall, people have developed these theories. Just to be clear, neither rabies nor Ebola has been linked to anyone becoming a zombie. These are all just theories. The CDC has had an interesting involvement with the zombie apocalypse. This is an actual website that is still in operation now. They initially put this up as kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke to show that they were kind of cool and could relate to the younger population. But it actually has some really interesting information on it. So you can look on there. They give you hints on how to prepare for a zombie apocalypse. But if you look at that, it really prepares you for any large emergency. Now, classification. There are a lot of different types of zombies. We'll start with the crawler. So the zombie that's a crawler is not a very high risk zombie. They typically are older. They may be missing their lower extremities. And they're basically limited to just crawling along the ground. The shambler, similar to the crawler, has been damaged in some way, is not moving very quickly at all, so doesn't offer that much danger. The walker zombie is your typical zombie. Will orient to sound and move at a walking pace, so can be somewhat dangerous. And then the most dangerous type of zombie is the runner. So these are very fast zombies. They'll come at you, and you need to be able to respond very quickly. And then the most well-known zombie is, of course, the thriller. So during an initial response to a zombie apocalypse, you definitely want to leave heavily populated areas quickly. Stay in a group or a family. There's always strength in numbers. Once you find shelter, they recommend boarding up the windows so that no light can escape, because any light or stimulus will attract zombies to your residence. You want to fill up your sinks, your bathtubs with water before the water supply is compromised. And then you also want to start gathering food, preferably non-perishables, so that you can keep a stockpile and eat on that for weeks or even months and years to come. The importance of a group can't be stressed enough. So if you were attacked by a zombie, when you have someone that has your back, literally, you don't have to watch your back. You can fight them off more easily, and you have someone to talk to. It can get very lonely if you're all by yourself trying to survive. Picking shelter. So the documentary The Walking Dead, we've seen a lot of different shelters picked. Number one being the farm. Farm is a good option for you because it is rural and there won't be as many zombies around. The hospital. So say you're on call and you get stuck in the hospital. It's not a terrible shelter. It's very high up off the ground. But the big drawback for the hospital is that's the number one place anyone that's been bitten or is sick is going to come. So you have a high risk of being exposed to more zombies overall. The prison. So the prison is actually one of the most secure locations for a shelter. When you think about it, you have multiple lines of fencing that keep things. They're meant to keep things in, but they actually will keep things out just as well. You have rooms that have bars on the doors, so things can't get into the rooms even. So this makes this a very defensible option for shelter. I endorse finding an island if it is possible. And if you can find an island that has a farm, a prison, and a hospital on it, then you've hit the trifecta. That's perfect. All right, getting into personal protection. So we all have personal protective equipment that we use every day in the hospital. They're meant to protect us from viruses and things that we encounter in the hospital. They're also equipment that's recommended for the zombie apocalypse as well. So you definitely want to have head covering, goggles. Cargo pants come in very handy because of the multiple pockets. You can carry knives, you can carry supplies, food, and then knee pads, high boots, all things that will protect your ankles and possible sources of getting bitten. Remembering that you don't want any loose clothing because it can be easily grabbed and slow you down when you're trying to get away. Personal protection goes far beyond just clothing. So you even need to be thinking about your hair. Someone with short hair, when they're attacked by a zombie, you can see that there's nothing to really grab onto. You can easily escape that. If someone has a mullet, they can easily be grabbed by that long hair in the back. So there's not going to be a party for anyone if you get grabbed by a zombie. So how do you pick a weapon for the zombie apocalypse? Crossbows, machetes, knives. A good thing to remember is that knives don't need reloading. Guns are handy, but ammunition will eventually run out, so you need to keep that in mind. Axes are great, very similar to machetes and knives. And then there's chainsaws. So chainsaws are probably the least long-lasting weapons because they require gas, they require maintenance. But she sure looks like she's having a great time, huh? Looking at long-term survival, the goal is not to kill zombies. The goal is not to fight. The goal is to survive. So making sure you surround yourself with good people and focus on surviving, you'll get through this all right. All right, and that's my talk. These are my references. Y'all have a great day.